Good evening and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Geats, episode 35, Betrayals with Broken Promises. Guys, we only have 15 episodes left, and by God, I don't want to see Geats go. We need a second season. No, not really. But I'm just saying because this show has been very good. It has its flaws, but so far it's been very good. And I'm not ready to see it go. I'm not. And this episode really takes the cake. Yuya, you're a hell of a writer. But there are some things I'm going to save in my character review for both hero and villain. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. However, another great episode. There's been a lot of lies and a lot of broken promises in this episode. And of course, we all knew that Niram was going to return. However, he didn't return alone. Pumpjack has made his triumphant return. And of course, I knew, of course you knew as well if you've been listening, that the actor who played Pumpjack hasn't received his flowers since he blew up, remember? And he came back. And it's going to be very interesting of how Pumpjack is going to get involved and all that stuff. Aside from that, never trust Daichi. He's a snake, and he will always be a snake. Because he is willing to throw anybody under the bus. He will use people in order to get what he wants. He has not changed, and he is out for revenge for what happened during the Death Star arc. And he's going to be back as a half Jamoto. Because Michinaga had the pleasure of destroying his ID core. However, fake, evil Greenhouse Man takes his core along with so many others, and he's going to use them as fertilizer. And just like Michinaga, Daichi will return as a Hachimoto. Yeah, so let's get started with this recap. I have to say this, the first scene, oh my god. Neon is catching Sara up to speed, and guess what? Neon had created this writer journal for Sara, and you see these drawings, you see the notes of each writer, like the abilities, their names, their strengths, their weaknesses, and my god, that journal was cute. Like, man. And Sara is determined to keep Keiwa away from the Desire Royale. She does not want Keiwa's memories of being a writer to come back. And unfortunately for her, Keiwa is back as a writer. Neon was like, yeah, it's a little too late. It's too late for that. And speaking of Keiwa, Keiwa demands answers from Kermit the Frog. And this is where I was angry. Kermit the Frog, who's supposed to be on Keiwa's side, straight up lied to his face, saying that it was Sara who forced him to fork over a driver so she can participate in the Desire Royale. Obviously, that's a lie, because you and I both know that it was him who kind of forced Sara into being a writer, because he said, and I quote, "You need to become a writer in order to bring back your brother." And also, he lied. He broke his promise of Keiwa ever being involved. He broke that promise too. So he lied to Keiwa and he lied to Sara. And obviously, once the truth has been revealed, Keiwa, and if Sara is still alive, they're gonna be very pissed off. Hell is gonna break loose. And of course, the main reason why Sara was involved in the first place is that once she gets killed off, Keiwa's inner demon, quote unquote, will be unleashed. But the thing is, once you open Pandora's box, disaster awaits. And look what happened when someone opened that box. That's all I'm going to say about that. At the end of that scene, Keiwa pretty much said the same thing to Kermit the Frog. It's similar, but it's the same thing. He wants to protect his sister, but not at the cost of his secret, meaning he's a writer now. So he asked Kermit the Frog to help him, conceal his identity, his secret, because he wants to protect his sister. So we move on to the phone call. Seru has called the 6 Chosen that, hey, I have a new game for you. The game is Hunt Down Broken ID Cores. And whoever gets the most cores will pick who will be sent home, so to speak, who will get eliminated. Yeah, so that's the game. And they have 3 days, and the game starts at 12 noon to sunset. So then afterwards, we see Ace. He meets up with Jean. And this is where you gotta get kudos to Jean, because he knows that once Ace gets rid of the DGP, that's it for him as well. He knows it, but he will back Ace no matter what, because that's how much he admires him, he loves him, and he will do whatever he can. That's why after that talk, he handed over his gun to Ace, and then before they could say anything else, 12 noon hit. The Chosen 6 get transported to the old Jamoto Gardens, the place where Azu 2.0, the Mistress of Games, has left her mark. So the game has begun. So let's see. Yes. So the girls are hunting down ID cores. At the same time, Keiwa is playing ninja. You see him, all how you say, he's all painted up, You see him with bushes around his head. So he's like, have this, like, he was trying to blend in with all the trees. And it's pretty funny. It was really funny. He was disguising himself as a tree, playing ninja for real. Um, let's see. Unfortunately for Keiwa and especially the girls, they encountered Michinaga. And Michinaga and the girls fight while Keiwa is trying to figure out how would I save these girls without revealing himself. So he ended up pulling his own invisibility cloak, and due to his antics, he managed to give the girls time to get away. And Michinaga luckily hasn't spotted Keiwa, but he knows something is up, but he doesn't know what it is. So all three of them left. And then you have Daichi. He finds his own set of ID cores, and then he meets up with Ace, and Daichi proposes a team up. Of course, Ace will never team up with a snake, because he knows that even if he was willing to join forces with Daichi, he knows that Daichi is the type of person who will use him and then pretty much, kills him once his usefulness is over. He knows it. And so Daichi and Ace have their mini fight, and then Daichi escapes because he knows that he's no match. He's no match against Ace, so he leaves. And then we get transported to the waiting lounge. The girls unfortunately only found 3. And then Daichi appears. And of course the girls are like, what the hell are you even here? You tried to kill me, Sara said. And Daichi was responding with, any player can use the waiting lounge. It's cool. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to make an offer. And he shows up with his pouch full of ID cores. And the offer is this. I'm willing to give over all these ID cores I have to you in exchange for Michinaga's elimination. That's the deal. Of course, Neon was like, I don't trust you. You have done a lot of bad things. Why should we trust you? And of course, Daichi makes this sob story that, look, I did those bad things in order to get what I want. And of course, to survive. I do apologize for that. And then here comes this weird statue that appeared out of nowhere that looks like a bear, and it introduced itself as Ponchichi. And supposedly Ponchichi is Sara's supporter, her sponsor. And Neon was surprised and like, hey, Sara, you got a sponsor too. And she approaches the statue. Lo and behold, it's Keiwa hiding behind the couch and just making the voice of this bear. And the reaction that Neon gave was priceless. It was so priceless. And Kei was like, please, don't sell me out. I'm trying to protect my sister. Please, don't rat me out. And of course, Neon, being a good sport, she's like, okay, I'll play along. Hey, so, yeah, Ponchichi is your sponsor. I gotta ask, guys, how many takes did it took to just have this on TV? I could already imagine the bloopers and the multiple takes, because I bet the actors were trying so hard not to laugh. But my god, this episode, this is Keiwa's episode with all his funny attempts to hide in plain sight, to his voice and the statue and hiding behind the couch. Like, Jesus. What a comic relief. But he's gonna turn to the dark side sooner rather than later, so let us enjoy it while it lasts. So again, Daichi makes an offer, and gullible Sara has decided, okay, I accept your offer. And she happily just goes away, and then Keiwa just steps out from behind the couch and just say, you know what, Daichi, I don't trust you, Neon does not trust you, and I'm still owe you for hurting my sister. And yet, Keiwa asked Daichi to keep his secret. And of course, Daichi just not necessarily go down on his knees, but he just bows and just say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep your secret. And dude, Keiwa, like, do you trust this guy to keep your secret? Seriously, after what he has done to you and your sister? You ask him to please keep your secret? Like, seriously? It doesn't matter now, because Daichi is gone, but you don't know that yet. Anyways, we get into the next scene. Ace and Michinaga form a team of their own. Sara is being followed, and then we lead to this encounter between Sumori and Seru, and this is where another broken promise has been revealed. Remember, the Desire Royale was meant to decide the winner and to decide whether or not the DGP stays on this earth or not. But this is where, you know, it doesn't matter if the winner says I'll keep the DGP or not, because according to Seru, you know, they're leaving. And he said that the world is nothing more than a stage for the show. Once it's served its purpose, it's time for us to go. And that includes the memory of the DGP ever set its eyes on this world. And Sumori asked a very good, important question. What's the point of this tournament, anyway, if we're gonna leave? What's the point of the fighting? And this is where I got a little bit confused. It could be the subs or not, but Seru ended with this. Our circus animals no longer need a bribe. I don't know what that meant exactly. If someone in the chat, in the comments, will help me, understand what he meant by that, I greatly appreciate it. But I was confused on what he said. No longer need a bride? What does that mean? I don't know. And then he leaves, and then Sumeri, with shock and awe, she sees two men approaching her. Now, the next day arrives, and Daichi comes up with a plan where he is going to fight Michinaga while the girls are finding the remaining ID cores. But of course, once a snake, always a snake. Because later, he ends up calling Michinaga and tells them, okay, the girls are going to be in this river. You could go there and destroy them. So he just rats them out. All the while, Michinaga is listening, and then you have Ace listening. So it's pretty much Keiwa's and Neon's fault. Because again, why did you trust this man after everything he has done? You still let him manipulate you? Because we get into the next scene and you see the girls trying to hunt down cores. Keiwa is playing Invisible Man, and then we hear noises, but luckily it wasn't Michinaga, but it was Ace, and tells them why he is there. Like, hey girls, you've been duped. Daichi pretty much betrayed you. He ratted you out to Michinaga. Lucky for you guys, I came in. And then as Ace was talking to the girls and Keiwa, playing Invisible Man, just listening in, you have Daichi collecting ID cores, encounters Michinaga, and he was shocked, and then they have their fight. So at the same time, we get back to Ace and the other three riders and tells them, for one thing, okay, Daichi has betrayed you. Do not trust anybody, because this game is designed to put you guys, all of us, to fight each other. It's only a matter of time. Your allies will stab you in the back. And Neon was the voice for Sara herself and Keiwa, telling Ace, we're not going to do that. We're going to stick together and we will win. And Ace was like, okay, sure, why not? We'll see. And then he ends with, look, I didn't attack you. I will never. I will not attack you because you're not my enemy. The DGP are my enemy, so you have nothing to fear from me. And he walks away, and he says, "That includes you, stranger." And he just turns around and stares at Keiwa, and Keiwa responds with, I'm here to protect my sister. And then Ace leaves. And then we head to the tail end of the fight between Daichi and Michinaga, and we all know what happens there. Michinaga defeats Daichi, and he takes away his ID core. He crushes it. He doesn't destroy it, but he just enough to see cracks. And of course, Daichi, with his typical evil last laugh, his last say, you have not seen the last of me, and he disappears. And guess what happens next? Fake evil greenhouse man appears out of nowhere, takes Daichi's broken ID core, and the rest of the ID cores, and Michinaga was surprised, assuming that he was dead, and it's not. No, he's alive, and he is determined more than ever that he is going to achieve his wish, a world full of Jamotos. There you go. And before that, he said he's going to use the ID cores he found and use them as fertilizer to create his new Jamoto army. There you go. And then we hit to the final scene. Sumori is shocked to see a Niram and Pumpjack together, revived, due to Seru's quote-unquote magic. And Niram has declared it's time to begin the final judgment. And it's time to prepare. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of the episode. 15 episodes left. I don't want to see it go. I really don't. But another great episode. And talk about a lot of broken promises and betrayals. And it's Keiwa and Neon's fault to even trusting a snake like Daichi. They should have known that he would throw them under the bus, but luckily for them, they have Ace, and Michinaga decided, like, I'm gonna get rid of this guy because I hate him. He's gonna use people. He needs to go. And I wanna say this in closing. Daichi is a wasted character. I don't know if returning as a Habjamoto will help him, but as of right now, he's such a useless character. He has done nothing, in my opinion. Maybe he's gonna change once he's brought back, but as of right now, he's useless. A lot of lies, a lot of broken promises, and yeah, hell is gonna break loose, and Keiwa is gonna turn his wrath on Kermit the Frog once he knows the truth, and the rest of the writers, once they find out the truth, that regardless of the winner, the DGP will leave with the memories wiped out, and I don't think any writer will be left standing afterwards. So yeah, it's getting really good, and you never know what's gonna happen next. Yuya, you have outdone yourself, I swear. I mean, you have improved a lot since 01 and your first work on X8. I'm really impressed. And yeah, it's going to be very tough to see it go. Very tough. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. If you've seen episode 35, tell me, did you like it? Did you dislike it? If you dislike it, please write in the comments below. What would you do to change it? Also, let me know if I missed anything, because even though I have my notes in front of me, I sometimes forget some things. So please let me know if I forget anything at all, and just write in the comments below. Also, give a like if you like this video, this recap, and please subscribe because it helps. And if you didn't like it, that's okay too. Thank you so much for listening towards the very end. Also, please tell me what Seru meant by saying our circus animals no longer need a bribe, because I was confused and I just didn't understand what he meant by that. So please help me out here. Other than that, that's it. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all on the other side of oblivion. Johnny! 15 episodes left until the finale.